Okay, we're tying the blue steel caddis for steelhead here. So we're going to start with a regular old size 8, size 12, or even a 10 bent caddis hook with a tungsten bead, black bead. Start your thread like normal. Little tip, tie with your scissors in your hand and you will finish this pattern much faster. And then second of all, I'm going to tie in some ultra wire. This is going to be our rib. Start moving toward the back. Once you get that in, we are going to be using Mirage sheeting. Okay? And the whole package looks something like this. It comes in big sheets. For this fly, you are going to want to cut off multiple strips that are about as wide as a shell back, and you can cut them long because you'll just keep using them. And so what I'm going to do here is bind this down to the top of the hook shank, and it has a tendency to roll backwards on you a little bit, so I kind of tend to start it on the front and then let it roll onto the top of the hook like that. Next, for the blue steel, we use a very specific color. This is Sinyo's Laser Dub in fluorescent blue. Comes in a pack. It's a great color here. Going to take a bunch of this. Just start dubbing it onto the thread. Little trick. You could use dubbing wax if you want, although I like these to sink, so I tend to not want to use wax on these flies if I can. These steelhead flies, you're wanting them to sink them as deep as you can. Okay, and then once you got that, we're going to go ahead and just wrap as tight a body as we can get. Just keep wrapping it down, wrapping it forward. A little more on. Body's a little shaggy, that's great, doesn't matter. Just keep... You're just going to keep dubbing it right up to the front. Maybe add a touch more there. It's an easy pattern to tie. It's pretty quick. Doesn't use a lot of materials. Try to build a little taper body and end your thread right there behind the bead. At this point, you will take that sheeting material and you're going to pull it over the top of the fly like that. And I like to use a pinch wrap here and pull it straight down on top. You definitely want it centered. Take about 2 wraps there, fold it back, nip it off, and then we're ready to wind. Now you can use dubbing pliers on the ribbing, but I prefer just to hold it in my hand. It just saves you a lot of time. Oh, by the way, if you're tying with a rotary vise, which I do, you're gonna just throw a little half hitch in there, okay, and use your bobbin cradle if you got one. And then we'll take the wire and just wrap a nice rib on there. This binds that sheeting material down, also gives it a rib, which to me is real important. I think fish key on a rib helps them determine whether something's alive or not, although you don't see a lot of fluorescent blue leaves. Little trick when you're using ultra wire, instead of cutting it with your valuable scissors, just twizzle it a few times and it should come right off. Alright, last thing to finish this fly up, we're going to take a nice long black hackle and shove the end of it right up under the bead, and then make sure you got it and wind back on it, and then advance your thread all the way to right behind the bead. So you want your thread forward that way. Okay, and then go ahead and hand wrap that hackle if it's nice and long, which it should be. Take about 3 wraps around, something like that. Pull the thread forward with a feather, and then wrap behind the feather. I'm going to give this one 3 shots, and usually if you do it right, you can just pull the feather right off. You don't even have to cut it. And then we're going to finish up that head. I don't even bother with half hitches on these. You go through a lot of flies with this kind of fishing. And the fewer steps and the less amount of time I can take, the better. There's the blue steel caddis. Let's get a good close-up of that baby. Look at that. And you can see that shine right on the back. And then you got that nice dubbed underbody. And there you have it, blue steel caddis. Go steelhead fishing.